So thank you for joining us. Firstly, just tell us a little bit about yourself and a bit about Walfinch as well.
Hi, Mark. Thank you for having me today. My name's Amrit Dhaliwal. I'm the CEO and founder of Walfinch. Walfinch is a home care operation. I started it having been in business in other industries, in catering, in restaurants, and so on. But then I was a home care franchisee myself for quite a few years. I realized at that point that there was a big change that was needed within the market. I basically went off and thought, right, how can we make this more technologically advanced? How can we make this more supportive for a franchisee so they could come from any industry and start a home care franchise, basically? So off I went, built my franchise business up, sold it, and then started franchising myself. And today, here we are.
So when you started franchising and even now, like, what's your favorite thing about the franchise industry and has that changed?
That's a really interesting question. I think. When I was a franchisee, I didn't really quite get it, I suppose. I wasn't as immersed in the industry as I am today, and I think that is an issue within the market. I think we do a lot with our franchisees to kind of teach them about franchising itself. We invited Simon Bartholomew, the CEO of BFA, to our last conference and really talk about franchising and how we can, as an industry, support each other. So I think there's a lot of work that needs to be done on that side, and I think the BFA at the moment are doing some really wonderful things there to kind of pave that way. But I think the brilliant things about being involved in the franchising industry are that everyone gets a fair go. Everyone can be successful. It makes business into more of a science and a mathematical formula rather than something that's kind of magical. So we've got franchisees that come from an equities trader background to Papa John background. They can both come in, get the same level of expertise from our team, and build a successful business.
It's a really good way of putting it, actually. What do you think the three top benefits of investing in a franchise are?
I think the first one for me is really that you're not alone. The network itself, if you tap into that, is super powerful. We always tell all that we put a lot on for our franchisees, whether it's online, in person, and so on an ongoing basis. You've obviously got the annual conference, but we do so much of collective stuff because I remember when I was a franchisee, that was what I got the most benefit out of. Yes, there might be a speaker or something that you learn from, but actually the conversation that you have with your neighbor, you think, oh gosh, yeah, you're in exactly the same boat as me. I'm going to go and do X. So the fact that you're not alone and you can tap into this network is super interesting as a franchisee because as a managing director of a regular company, you are that's it. You're at the top. It's very lonely. There's no one to speak to. No one in the same boat. Here you've got people that you're kind of competing with, but not really. So that's quite fun. I think that's super important. The other thing is that you've always got support. I think the fact that you've always got someone that you can pick up the phone to, and we've got a group of experts, people that have been in both franchising and in care for 30 plus years each, that are sort of award winning type of people. They're really some of the best in the industry. You can pick up the phone to these guys and say, I've got this situation. What do I do? And invariably, they'll be able to answer the question. They'll know who they can put you in touch with. They'll have relationships and kind of keep moving forward. And I suppose lastly, there's always somebody there that's kind of focused on your numbers and your success that isn't just you. So having been both a franchisee and also a sort of independent business owner, when I was an independent business owner, it was sort of me looking at the numbers and saying, well, okay, yeah, this is kind of okay. Probably cool. That's the right number of covers in the restaurant, and that's kind of the right GP. But as a franchisee, you can benchmark yourself. We do a lot of work around benchmarking franchisees and saying, well, actually, this percentage could probably be slightly higher. The national average of this, help with profitability. Your top line could grow a bit over here. Your retention rate can change there. These are the things that are working next door, et cetera, et cetera. So you've got this kind of very valuable piece of data, which is great as a business owner.
Yeah, excellent. And one of the things I've noticed when I've interviewed franchisees as well is that they talk to other people in the franchise network. And that's another, like, they're not just talking to head office for support, they're talking to their peers for support as well. And I think that's something you would not get if you just sort of set up by
Totally.
yourself. And I think that's really powerful.
You can just ask open-ended questions without worrying about giving too much IP away because they've all got the same IP. So it's brilliant.
What questions should someone ask themselves before they invest in a franchise?
I moved from not franchising into franchising, and so I asked myself some really interesting questions when back in 2012 when I was buying a franchise myself as a franchisee. The first question I asked myself was, is franchising for me? Do I want to be part of someone's network? Do I want to be involved in that whole thing? And for me, certainly the answer was yes, because it meant that I cut through a lot of hard learning experiences. Someone else has made the expensive mistakes, and I can jump on the bandwagon. That was great. So I think is franchising for me is the first question. The second question is, are these people that I'm buying a franchise from, are they going to pick up the phone on a Friday night at 5 p.m. when I've got a problem? Is the chemistry there? Are they really going to support me? And is there evidence of that? So can I speak to the other franchisees? Can I just kind of pick up the phone to whoever I feel like and get a response and say, well, okay, what do you think is going on? So I think, that's super important, that kind of relationship piece. Are they genuinely supportive, or is it actually, it's 3 p.m. on a Friday, it's coffee break time, and thank you very much. And yes, your safeguarding is your safeguarding. Or is it a collaborative approach? And I think the last thing for me that's really important is, do our values align? What are the values of the business? So, with Walfinch, we've got some really clear values, and all of our franchisees are aligned on that. I have a lot of meetings every month with prospective franchisees, and one of the key things that I don't let people proceed on is the fact that our values don't align, and that's okay. It doesn't mean that they're not going to be successful franchisees or business owners. It just means that this marriage that we've got probably won't work long term, and so it's kind of being really honest about that. So I think asking if our values align is super important.
What can visitors gain from visiting the National Franchise Exhibition?
Good question. I think it's a great way to meet people and get a feel for their brands. I think, what you see about Walfinch, for example, online, on social, and so on, is great. But actually coming in, saying hello, and having a coffee, shaking hands, it's a very different feel. I think you get the same vibe regardless of what brand and network that you speak to there. So it really brings all of the brands to life. I suppose, secondly, it needs to make a more informed decision in quite an efficient way, because you've got A, B, and C right next door to each other, and you can say, well, who do I get on with? Who do I want to kind of pick up the conversation with? And lastly, it can be a really fun day out, actually. So, and it's all really an interesting way to network, get to know an industry, see all different brands. There's always something interesting to think, oh gosh, they franchise that industry does it, and it's quite cool to kind of go there and listen to the talks, and you learn things, you pick up things, and you get to meet new people and build your own network. I think that's super important regardless of what business or industry you go to.
Something else I've noticed at these kind of exhibitions is that people, if they've been following you a little while, they'll, especially with you, they'll notice you, and they'll feel like they know you to a certain extent, because you're very present in Walfinch's marketing. You're in a lot of the photos, you're in the videos, so people will go up to you and feel like they already know you to an extent. So they might even they'll know your name, and they'll start talking to you, like be like in the middle of a conversation already, because they've already started that conversation in their heads because you've already put the effort in. And I think that will give you a leg up when you go to like exhibit at these, because you'll finally get to meet these people face to face, and some of them you won't even know who they are, but they've been following you silently in the background. And I think you'll notice like how powerful your marketing's been at stuff like this. So I think it's a good opportunity to meet people like face to face. When they come and see you at the exhibition, what key questions should they be asking you?
I think if I was a franchisee, I'd probably have three things that I'd be looking at. The first question I've got, having been a franchisee, is what sort of support do you offer? Really, that's it. That is the key question. What are you going to do for me? How are you going to help me go from 0 to £1? After that £1, we'll figure it out, right? But how do you get me to that £1? I think that's super important. So quantifying the support, breaking it down, understanding what the formulaic approach to the support is. And, at Walfinch, we absolutely have that because, again, having been a franchisee, I really get that. I understand that is super important. So hence why we've got such brilliant people on board, because I think that is really where, as a franchisor, I should be investing our resources. The second question is, how do you stand out from the crowd? How is Walfinch different from all the other challenger brands out there? And there are a lot of them. There are a lot of home care franchise operations. There's a lot of all brands. And we've really thought about this, spent a lot of time out in the States myself, learning about franchising, because they do it really well out there as well, and really kind of keep educating. And I think we've got a very big learning culture. So I'd love for somebody to ask us about that and how we stand out from the crowd. So I think there's some really interesting pieces there.
Yeah, that's a very simple question. I probably wouldn't have thought. I've not been in the situation that I've wanted to buy a franchise, but yeah, very simple question, but a very important one as well.
And it's so interesting because franchising is all about simplifying everything. I've got a lot of friends in various different industries, and you ask them about their businesses, and it's super complicated, and yours must be really complicated. Home care and care quality commission and so on. But actually, my response is always, my job as a franchisor is to simplify everything into 1, 2, 3. It's all process, and that's how you can then teach anybody to go from 0 to 1 million, 2 million, etc.
Yeah, excellent. Well, that's all the questions I've got. So thank you so much for your time today. Really appreciate it. And I'll see you at the National Franchise Exhibition in October.
Looking forward to it. Mark, please come along to our I think we are F110, so please come along. It would be lovely to see you there.
Cool, yeah, I'll see you then. Cheers.